I've personally enjoyed the benefits using monitor arms over the last 16 years, but they aren't perfect. From space requirement issues to awful cable management systems, here are the top 10 monitor arm problems you must consider. The space requirement behind your desk is unfortunately something most don't think about until they literally run into the problem with their monitor arm. Those who use extension arms to align multiple monitors next to each other are most likely to experience this problem as the hinging portion of the arm pushes out and back beyond the desk's edge. It requires additional space to prevent the arms from hitting the wall. Some might not have the required space to pull the desk away from the wall to accommodate this problem. In those situations, it's best to consider single-arm post systems that require little additional depth beyond the back edge of your desk. This setup works well for dual monitor arms as well, but will likely be a little bit more expensive and take up some additional space on the desk surface for mounting each arm. When you buy new monitors, there's a good chance you likely didn't consider if they were VESA compliant. But the same can be said if you buy a new monitor arm with the intention of using your existing monitors on the new arm. So many people have encountered this problem after it's too late. VESA compliance is the standard for monitor companies to ensure their mounting hole patterns on the back of each monitor is easy to attach to the wide assortment of monitor mount brands available. The typical mounting pattern we see for monitors used at a desk are 75 by 75 or 100 by 100 millimeters. Now, if you plan to use a TV as a monitor, this could be even larger and will likely require adapter plates for most monitor arms. To check to see if your existing monitors are VESA compliant, you can either look it up online or physically check the back of your monitor. But sometimes the holes are hidden under a cover or bracket. Now, if you're unsure, you can always do that quick reference online. So what do you do if your monitors don't have VESA mounting holes? Well, you can either buy new monitors that do or retrofit your existing monitors. Now, there are quite a few third-party brackets that are made to actually hook onto your monitor, and these will include the VESA mount, but they're ugly. Alternatively, we've seen people, including Robert from BTOD TV here, super glue brackets to their monitor. Now, this is extreme, but it works. Making sure you get the mount option right for your monitor arm is imperative. Fit issues can be a major problem if you choose the wrong type of mount for your monitor. The two types of mount options are C-clamp and grommet clamps. Now, if you like to move your monitor around and change up your setup frequently, the C-clamp is likely the best option. This is a non-permanent solution that can be easily loosened and moved. Beware though, since C-clamps can be a problem if your desk has a decorative edge or a ledge that's hard to get the clamp around. Grommet mounts, on the other hand, are a more permanent solution that will require you to actually drill a hole in your desk. Now, if you're not as handy as our production lead Derek, who just demonstrated drilling a grommet hole in a desk, you'll likely become frustrated and potentially could even ruin your desk's surface. Now, ultimately, for me, I believe the grommet option is the most complete and clean looking. If you care at all about cable management at your desk, the problems that exist for monitors and cables will be extra frustrating. While even the cheapest monitor arms have some level of cable management, many leave the wires exposed or in some cases require you to unscrew a cover, feed the wires through, and then retighten that same cover. In some instances, these types of screw-on covers are too small to fit all of the wires. Even after you complete the cable management on the cheapest arms, I think they still kind of look awful and incomplete. While I really enjoy the look of a nice grommet mounted arm, a lot of times the cables will pass through the wrong side of the arm, being exposed to the front of the desk. Even with some of the best brands like Ergotron, it seems like cable management is just an afterthought. So this likely means you'll need to invest in some additional sleeve type solution to make this look more complete. Depending on the size of your current monitor, low weight capacities on certain arms can create some issues. When smaller monitors are used, there typically isn't a weight issue, but when you attach large monitors like an ultra-wide 49-inch from Samsung, or even TVs that are being used as monitors, they can slowly sink down or just plain drop. You'll also find with large monitors like this, the width also poses an issue as well, putting too much leverage on the pivot point, allowing for the arm to tilt forward or side to side. You will definitely want to check your monitor's weight without the base and verify that the arm you're considering will support this monitor properly, and don't forget to check the actual size of the monitor as well. Stability issues are a major cause of frustration when using monitor arms. Typically, the biggest issue is the constant bounce that's noticed when typing, mousing, or even leaning into your standing desk. Now, if you're not a hard typer, or maybe you don't play video games that are fast-paced, this might not be an issue. But if you're either or both, this will be super annoying. While I've found that most of the cheaper monitor arms are typically the worst with this stability, expensive arms are not exempt from this problem. The fix is the closer you mount your monitor to the actual post system connected to the desk, the better the stability will likely be. The further you extend the arm from this post, the easier it will be for the monitor to bounce around. Now, ultimately, the monitor arm will only be as stable as the desk that you attach it to. Even the most stable arms will move with the motion of a wobbly desk. Lastly, if this is a concern, you can always consider mounting your arm to a wall for max stability. Monitor width restrictions are not just limited to the drop issues that were discussed in the previous problem. Monitor width can actually pose a problem for many of us who are using two monitors in landscape orientation. Now, we've seen that single arm extensions might not be quite wide enough to fit two 22 or 24-inch wide monitors. Now, when this happens, it can lead to an awkward overlap between the two monitors. Using a monitor arm with multiple extensions will solve this problem, providing extra space, but remember that as you add hinge points to the arm, the amount of depth required behind your desk will also increase. Depending on the type of monitor arm you choose or how many monitors you have on the arm, they can be difficult to adjust. Now, if you're the type of person who likes to make a lot of height adjustments or tilt adjustments to their monitor setup, you'll want to consider how easy or difficult an arm is to actually make those adjustments. For the most basic post systems, you'll likely need to loosen a set screw and or a collar system. Then you can physically move the arm's height and retighten the mount. Alternatively, if you're using a gas or spring system, this can be much easier to make those height adjustments. In many situations, you can actually just grab the monitor and move it up or down. While spring systems are easier to make height adjustments, if you're using dual monitor arms, this will add a bit of complexity to the situation as both monitors will typically move independently of each other. If you've ever tried to align two monitors next to each other, getting them set perfectly is almost an impossible task that once you've completed, you'll probably never want to experience it again. Now, if you plan to make frequent height adjustments in a setup like this, I would definitely consider looking at monitor arms that include a handle to easily adjust the height without actually touching the monitors. The additional cable length required for monitor arms is probably one of the most overlooked problems. But if you plan to use its integrated cable management system, I can promise it will require some additional length to reach your computer. Now, how much will depend on your individual arm and setup. If you have a standing desk, this problem will only be exaggerated as the required length of cables will be even longer. Failing to recognize this will ultimately lead to cables being physically pulled from the back of the computer when height adjustments are made. If you currently use a surface that's made from a softer material like wood, rubber wood, or even bamboo, C-clamps and grommet mounts can potentially damage your desk surface. Even cheaper hollow core surfaces from IKEA can be a problem as well. Now, while most monitor arms will include some type of rubber protection for the mount where it clamps to the desk, the actual leverage created by the monitors extended over your desk can pull the clamp down on one edge or another, ultimately pressing down into the wood and leaving ugly indentations on your surface. Now, to avoid this problem, companies do make metal brackets to help spread and distribute the weight of the arm across the larger area on your surface. Alternatively, you can also do the same by just adding your own metal brackets, but this will take up more space on your surface and honestly can be a bit of an eyesore in my opinion.